So I thought I'd do a little follow-up video on progress. Been a little delay in proceedings because me and Bron had our COVID jabs on Sunday. What's it now? It's now Wednesday, and yeah, lost a few days with that. Both me and Bron had a bit of a reaction, but mainly with me it was just lack of energy and just not wanting to do anything. So I just immersed myself in work, sat behind the desk, but a bit of sick feeling, etc., etc. Headaches, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, it's sort of subsided now, so done a few things. So, bit of a progress report. You will see that the bike is off the paddock stand and sitting on these axle stands, sitting on boxes. So the reason for that is because I have disconnected the rear shock, and this swing arm is free to go up and down as you like now. So what I did, so this is particular to you, Rich, I suppose. You were quite interested about this. I contacted Jan, the Belgian rock star, that designs and builds these frame kits, for want of a better word. So I asked him about the lock stops. He said, yes, we fit rubbers to the frame, which is exactly what I've done, the conclusion I've come to. And he was saying that he hadn't had any issues at all regarding that in scrutineering, or technical inspection as they call it in Europe, regarding that, and never had an issue, never even been mentioned. So that's good enough for me. So if a buyer asks where's the lock stops, I can refer him to the email that Jan sent me, basically. And he said in the email that even included Michael Rutter. So I don't know if you know who Michael Rutter is, but Michael's father, who's now dead, Tony Rutter, was the pioneer of racing these bikes and won many a race, many a Isle of Man TT on on the original of this bike, not the replica obviously, but the original Ducati bike. And Jan has built two bikes, I think, for Michael Rutter over the last 5 years or so. So yeah, I believe him, put it that way. Couple of little changes. Just fitted some O-rings. Now these are supposed to have proper rubbers. Jan does sell these proper rubbers, and I thought I'd seen them somewhere, but I can't find them. Maybe I've thrown them out, maybe not. But if I really want to, I can spend 10 quid to get a couple sent over from Belgium, but I'll wait right to the end, see how much money I've got left. So rear shock. So I asked Jan what should be the correct length of the rear shock, and he came back straight away, 330 millimeters. This shock I've since found out is off a Yamaha R6. So I phoned up Nitron and spoke to them about this shock, and basically they confirmed it was a custom shock but based on an R6. And so the length with the eye that goes in here that I have, I can only get to about 310 millimeters with enough thread left in here. So Nitron are now sending me a plus 21 millimeter eye to fit in the end of there, and when I get that, I will basically bolt that up, lift that up and get it plugged in, and then that should get the rear at the correct ride height, and then I can sort out the front from there. So other things of note are that this is a good illustration here of some of the myths around chain tension. So most people would look at that and say, oh, that's crazy loose, absolutely nuts, you know, you need to tighten your chain, which I tend to agree with on a road bike. However, I'll lift the swing arm up and you'll see we get up to about there and bowstring tight. So in fact that chain is too tight, because what happens is when you get the sprocket in line with the swing arm pivot in line with the rear axle, that is your tightest point, when all three of those are lined up. And when the wheel is down on the ground, obviously they're not in a straight line and your chain is looser because it's a shorter distance between your sprocket up here and your sprocket back there. Simple as that, really. And I was talking about anti-squat, and that is what drives anti-squat as well, is the tension imparted on this top strand of the chain as you're accelerating. If you get the geometry right, will push your rear wheel down and lift the rear end of the bike up. That is called pro squat geometry, and it's very important on a race bike. When I was racing ZXR 750s in New Zealand, standard ZXR is multi-adjustable on the swing arm for pivot height. It's got an eccentric which can change the angle of the swing arm. Playing around with that, I got to the point that I didn't have enough pro squat on the rear end, and every single turn I was coming out of on the track, the rear end was just sliding all over the place because I wasn't able to get enough power down, wasn't able to get enough force down onto the track. So that was a lesson learnt by myself 20 odd years ago. So I'm just waiting for some screws to finish there. There's a gasket underneath there which I made. I now have a fuel tap fitted to the tank. So obviously I want to get this tank fuel tight. So I'm just waiting for the screws for the gasket, and then that tank will be fuel tight. And if I really want to, which I don't, I'll put some fuel in it. Got the fairings out of the loft. I have just loosely fitted front fairing. That is the only fairing attachment point I've got to go off. So you'll see there's their fairing lowers, one piece, so no attachment holes drilled in that, so I don't know where they should go. I can't put the lowers on at the moment until I get the rear shock rebuilt, get this off the boxes, and then get it supported, because I've got a jack underneath there in the way and all kinds of stuff. So I'll have to wait until the shock is sorted out until I can get that fairing on. But in the meantime, I've got a screen. It looks like it's been pre-drilled. I can try and fit the screen, make sure that fits all right. This bracket here is for a fairing bracket going from here to here somewhere. I'll have to look at some photos to see where they put those brackets. Same on the other side, there's another bracket. And then on the lowers, these are the brackets on the frame to put a sort of dogleg aluminium bracket out to here somewhere to pick up on the inside of those fairings. And so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 brackets at least to make up to fit the fairing, and that's just going to be a time-consuming, horrible job. I bloody hate it. I've always hated making fairing brackets, but at least I've got one known mounting point. It's a shame that they didn't drill the mounting points in the fairing. I could ask Jan, of course, if he can tell me where the holes should be. You know, because we've got holes on the tailpiece. So yeah, shouldn't be a problem really. So that's kind of the update of where we are at the moment. Excuse me. Ugh. I don't know whether that's bloody COVID or fucking what, but I tell you what, I felt rough as guts. So yeah, starting to take shape. Starting to look like a quite a fine machine. It's going to be well tasty, and I'm hoping this back end jacked up where it should be will transform the look of it, because I wasn't particularly liking the look of it with its arse down. It was looking a bit fat and a bit saggy, but that should transform the looks, and also the handling, of course. And yeah, so that is where we are. So I think for the moment I'm just going to put these fairings away in the probably stick them in the van for now, until I can get this shock sorted out. And that's the update. Cheers.